In this video, we are going to learn the sine law. What is sine law? And we're going to prove the sine law using the most common triangle I've been using since the trigonometry introduction. So it's a 3, 4, 5 triangle. The hypotenuse is 5. The base side is 4. And that side is, the height side is 3. We are not playing with angle theta this time. So is the c square equals b square plus a square. It follows the Pythagorean law, and all these triangles are measured, but the triangle is not scaled. So what is sine law? Sine law says if I take the sine of the angle A, which is that angle, divide it by the value of the opposite side, which is A, this value, we'll check the value with calculators, must equals to, if I take the sine of the angle B and divide it by the opposite side, so B is noted with the opposite side just to make it clear so it's easier to understand. The value that will come must also be equal to, if I take the sine of the angle C and divide it by the value of the opposite side. So every time I will be taking sine of an angle, divide by the opposite, sine of the angle B divided by the value of the opposite side, and sine of the angle C divided by the value of the opposite side. The law says these values should be same. Now let's check. So let's check the value sine of angle A divided by the opposite side. So sine A, we can clearly see, is 51.1 degree, and the value of the opposite side is 4. Now let's check the value by the calculator. If we just punch in sine of 53.1 degree, the value is 0.799. We have to take it 0.8. So we round up the value to 0.80 divided by 4. 0.80 divided by 4, we don't need a calculator. We just divide the 80 by 4, it's 20, and so it's 0.20. So that is the value for sine of the angle A divided by the value of the opposite side. Now let's go for the other value. Sine of B, which is 36.9 degrees sine, divided by the value of the opposite side. So it should be sine of the angle 36.9 degree divided by the opposite side of the value of the opposite side, which is 3. Now let's check the value by the calculator. Sine of 36.9, so sine of 36.9. By the way, make sure your calculator is in the degree mode. So sine of 36.9 degree equals 0.60. So this value would be 0.60, has to be divided by the value of 3. So it's easy, or we take it the money wise, is 60 cents divided by 3 is 0.20. So these two values is same. If the third value is same, the law is proved. Now let's take the third value is sine of the angle C. So we should be taking sine of angle 90. And the value of the opposite side is C, which is 5. So sine of 90 degree divided by the value of side C, which is 5. So we need to find what is sine of 90 degree. So we punch in sine of 90 degree mode. The calculator is in degree mode. The value is 1. And let's check the value because we have to divide 1 by 5. So let's check, divide 1. Let's just do it. Divide 1 by 5. So the value is 0.20. It's done. So sine of 90 degree we have checked is 1. We divide it by 5 and the final value is 0.20. All these values are same. So that proves the sine law. And one thing we can do, we can take these values reciprocals. So we can write A on the top, sine A on the down, B on the top, sine B on the down, C on the top, sine C on the down. It should be the same answer. So this value will get reciprocal, but the final value, this value will change when we make it reciprocal, but the value should be equals. That is sine law. In this example, we have to find a missing side. We are given triangle ABC, angle B is 55 degree, information given, angle C is 45 degree, the information is given, angle is not given. One of the side 12 is given, the other side, whether we need it, we don't know, but we are asked, find the missing side. So find the side length of Y. So if we want y, do I have the opposite angle? Yes. I have a side. Do I have the opposite angle? The angle is no, we don't have. But we have two angles of a triangle. We can use the triangle properties. So angle A must be sum of three interior angle is 180. So it should be 180 minus the 55 minus the 45. And the answer is 80 degree. So we label angle A as 80 degree. Now we can use the sine law. Side 12, opposite angle is given. Side y unknown, but the opposite angle is given. Four relations, one unknown, we can find the fourth one. Now, which sign we will use? Do we use the sine of angle A on the top divided by the opposite side? We can do that. But when we isolate the side is on the down, we have to do extra pieces of work. So what we do is we just write the reciprocal of the sine law. Sine A over the opposite side, we write A over the sine A. B over the sine B, side C over the sine C. And we always use any two relationship. Being the reason we have to find y first, so the given side is 12, we write 12 on the top, opposite angle is 55, or angle B, we write sine of angle B equals the unknown side divided by the opposite angle, which is B, sine of angle B. Let's isolate the y first, then we plug in the value of sine A and sine B, so the work becomes easier because we need to isolate y. If we plug the value first, we end up with loss of work. So to cancel or cancel sine B from the right hand side or isolate sine B, isolate the value of y, we multiply both sides by the same value of sine B, just to cancel the sine B from the denominator on the right side. And the left side, we keep the y on the right side, the left side is 12 times the value of sine B divided by the value of sine A. And now we are ready to plug in the value. So it should be 12 times value of sine B is 55 degree, value of sine A is sine of 45 degree. And all that equals side y. Now all we need is a calculator. We get the value of sine 55 degree, get the value of sine 80 degree, simplify the left side and the value is done. So value of sine of 55 degree, calculator is in degree mode, sine 55 degree equals 0.81915. We will take 81912, just round up the value. So it's 12 times value of sine of 55 degrees, 8.81912. Now we need the value of sine of 80 degrees. Value of sine 80 degrees, sine of 80 degree, and that is 0.9848. After 48, there is a 0, so we just take 0.9848. And we just write the value 0.9848. And this value, if we use the calculator, we will get the simplified version. So all that value equals to y. Now let's get the simplified value. We use the fraction service from the calculator. It's faster. We have a fraction option to use. So 12 times 0.8192 all divided by 0.9848. So we just find the value just with a click. The value simplified is 9.982. We can just simply take y equals 9.98. So the value of the missing side is 9.98, and we can round up the value as 10. So we have used sine law to find the missing side of y, and we are done. On this example, we have to find angle S. We have only one interior angle of a triangle. It's not a right angle triangle. We don't know angle S, we don't know angle T. Obviously, if we would have known angle T, angle S would have been easier. But using sine law, I have an angle. Opposite side D is given. We have a side, opposite angle is not given. So just watch. Angle, opposite side, 1, 2. Side, given, opposite. So there are 3 pieces of information given. The fourth one is missing. And this 4 relation is built by a sine law on equation. So what is our plan? We will find sine law. We will use sine law to find the sine S. plan is isolate sinus. When we apply the sine law, find sinus, isolate, and after that we isolate the angle. And we have done it in the trigonometry introduction. If sine s, we don't know the value yet, we will find out later. Angle s would be sine inverse of the angle, what we will find out on the right hand side after we finish the math. Now we have to find the angle first. So we will use the left side of the sine law, angle on the top. So what we do is we just write sine of angle s divided by opposite side, which is the small case s, equals sine of the uppercase D divided by the opposite side, which is the small case d. And now it's time to plug in the value. Now, before we plug in, okay, let's plug in the two values first. We plug in our values with a plan. We just plug in the values of the sides first. So sine of angle S, the value of side S is 106 equals sine of angle D is 47 degrees. So sine of 47 degree divided by the value of D, which is 78. Now our job is to isolate sine of angle S. The value will turn up and we will take the sine inverse of the value found to find angle S. Now we need to cancel the 106 from the left hand side. So what we do is multiply both sides by the same value of 106 on the left, on the right. Doing that 106 cancels that value and we can isolate the sine of angle S. And the sine of angle S, it will be sine of 47 multiplied by 106 divided by sine 78 degree. Now we need a calculator to find sine 47 degree. To find sine 47 degree, we punch in sine 47 and the value is 0.7313. After 3 is a 5, so we will take 0.7313 and we use the value sine of 47, 0.7313 divided by 108 and the 106. And this value, anyone can do it by the calculator. The value simplifies at 0.9938. So the angle S would be sine inverse of the decimal value we just found. This is how we isolate the angle S. So angle S is going to be, now we need a calculator to finish it. So angle is sine inverse of 0.9938. Finding the value of sine inverse of that decimal. Sine inverse, some calculator has got the inverse sign and some calculator use arc sine. So arc sine is same as sine inverse of 0.9938 and the value turns out to be a 83.61.6. So we will take 83.7 degree. We will just round off the value as 83.7 degrees. That is the value of angle S, which is 83.7 degree. And we are done. We have a picture. All the pieces of information are on the picture. We have to find the value of side O and we have to find the value of side A. It's a composite triangle. I've color coded it. We have a red complete triangle. I haven't given the name. The name will make things complicated. And we have a side there. The green side is dividing the red triangle into a left side triangle, into a right side triangle. No need to worry. Let's just make a plan and let's see how it goes. Now, before we proceed, some of the missing angle. The 40-degree angle is on the left side on top of a straight line. All of the angle of a straight line, it works as a 180 degree. So 40 and 140, the whole angle is 180. So this angle is 40. Now we need to find that missing angle. The side is too small, so I just write it outside. Sum of interior angle is 180. So what we do is just 180 subtract 140 subtract. So 180 subtract these two angles from the right side of the triangle. That missing triangle, so the missing angle not given is 10 degrees. Sorry about sometimes I'm just making some missing of words. I apologize for that. And that side length, we just mark up that side length with a color code. That side length is 70. Now, before we proceed, let's just make a plan. The left side triangle is a right angle triangle, and we can use SOHCAHTOA on the left side of the triangle. Sine law will be used later. So the left side triangle, which is nameless, which is the green side and these two sides, O is the opposite side of the angle theta of 40, A is the adjacent side. How we find the side O? So the other missing side that hasn't been leveled, that is the hypotenuse on the vision of angle 40 and the 90 degree. So O over H. So O over H equals sine of 40 degree, which is the other sense sine of angle 40 degree is the opposite over hypotenuse. Just isolate O. It should be the cross multiplication. H times sine of 40 is the angle O. Once we make the plan, life gets easier. So we just know if I can find H, O is done. O is done. Sine 40 will be done by the calculator. H, we will plan H later. How can I find the side A? Side A is the adjacent side. I can compare the adjacent side over the hypotenuse, so it's the cos. So A over H is cosine of the angle 40 using the SOHCAHTOA cos. So A is H times cos 40. So we have made a plan in such a way. If we can find out H, plug in the value of H, use the sine 40 calculator, we are done. Now to find H, we will use the sine law. What we do is write H on the top because we have to find sine H. Now we go to the right side of the right part of the triangle, which is not a right angle triangle. H, we have got the opposite angle 30. Side 70, we have got the opposite angle 10. We are not bothered about the third one because we don't need it. So side of the H divided by the opposite angle, which is sine of 30 degree, must equals to another side, which is 70, divided by the opposite angle. So 70 divided by sine of 10 degrees. Before we plug in value, we have to isolate the H. So we need to multiply both sides by sine 30. The left side by sine 30 and the right hand side by sine 30. That will cancel the denominator of sine 30 from the left side. So the value of H is 70 times sine of 30 over sine of 10. Now let's find H. We need to find out the value of sine 30. So sine 30 is sine of 30 degree, which is very easy to remember. It's a half. So it should be 70 times half. And let's figure out the value of sine of 10 degrees. So sine of 10 degree, which is 0.17. Let's take the 4-digit, 0.1730. So 0.1736. And the other value was half. So the value of H is 70 times the value of sine 30 degree, which is half, and 0.1736. And the final value, this value I'm not using the calculator, it's an easy thing, anyone can do it. It simplifies to 201.61. We can write it 202, or we can keep it that way. Now, do we have any units? There is no units. One thing, points are cut. When there is no units, we just write the length of this side is 201 units. Now we have to find what is the value of what is the value of side O and what is the value of side A. All we do is just simply plug in the values. So we come back to this side. H is found, so it should be 201 times the value of sine 40. This time I'm not using the calculator to save time. You can just find this value by the calculator. And the simplified version is 129.6. And on this side, plug in the value of sine of H. Plug in the value of H. And cosine of 40 degree, it should be 0.766. And the simplification value would be. So we got the value of side O and the value of side A. So left side was using SOHCAHTOA, and the right hand side of the triangle we use the sine bow. And the combination of the planning, the answer is 10.